Okay, okay, fine. I'll do Russia, if that's what you really want. Now, unlike other fictional countries like Poland, Russia was there, well, Muscovy, its precursor state, in 1444, despite the Mongols' best efforts. So, this should be a bit easier for us to go and restore Third Rome. Um, this time, let's not dilly dally too much, and let's try and get into it straight away. So before we get to subscribing to myself, just to double check the conditions, and we need to own Rome. That kind of makes sense. If we're restoring Third Rome, we're claiming the legacy of Rome. How can you claim the legacy of Rome if you don't even own Rome? I mean, the name's in the bloody province. Come on, just... It makes sense, but also why am I doing this to myself? This is going to be actually painful to get, Well, that's just part of the fun. But before we get to the fun parts, seems yet again another day, another video, and another way for me to add a brand new decision. Religion has divided us significantly, but apparently by subscribing to me, you can finally bring us all under the best and pure religion. Sorry, I mean the one true faith. I can't believe it. Some people have claimed that apparently subscribing to me has not given them loads of land in Germany or made life on easy mode. But don't worry, trust me, subscribing to me will resolve all religious issues in Europe and by most of its neighbours. Definitely, you can trust me on this one. So, let's check, and remarkable. Well, okay, the country's maybe a bit screwed up now, but everyone's Orthodox from the Egyptian pyramid-looking Orthodoxians to Marrakeshi Moroccans Orthodox worshipping to, well, the Silesians in Silesia Orthodox worshipping, and I don't know what they do in Silesia. Silesiaing? Is that an activity? Is that what do people do in Silesia? I have no idea what people do in Silesia. But there we go. That should make that easier, shouldn't it? There we go. Perfect. Always knew a good old subscription to me would make life easier. Never doubted myself. But there we go. And with those two things out the way, time to form Russia to look at our new balance update. Fortunately, we'll have to take Rome. I really did not think this one through. I'll be fine. How hard is it to take Rome? Yeah, no. I mean, the rest of the conditions are just kind of like beat up Novgorod. It should be fine. We should have plenty of time before I attempt to take Rome, right? There we go. Perfect. Right. Well, with all those disclaimers out the way, now, time for me to go painfully form Rome. Time for you to sit back and enjoy the time lapse. Now, we do have elevator music, but I'm going to try something new today. Let's see how that works. But with that, see you all on the other side. Right, there we go. Just more FK session in there at the end. We've actually done this. And despite all the fun and games involved, we can finally form Russia. There we go. Yes, beasts and new traditions. As always, can now claim full cause as necessary for Russia. But let's begin by looking through the bonuses for the Russian government. Now, the first thing we notice with Stardom is, well, a fixed empire rank, that's the usual, but we don't have heirs, and, well, what's going on with that? Well, it's actually really simple. We all know that the best Russian rulers were the ones that weren't from Russia. I mean, Catherine the Great literally got great in her name, not Russian. Peter the Great got great in his name, spent most of his time outside of Russia. Then you look at some homemade Russian rulers. What do we have? Ivan the Terrible literally got terrible in his name. That's why, for balance purposes, from now on, Russia only has foreign rulers. So what about the foreign slave part? Well, it's pretty simple. No one wants to be in Russia. Hence, to actually get foreigners into the country, we have to resort to slavery. But it's fine. Eventually, we will get to the country to the point where some people would actually want to willingly go into it. But today is not that day. So for now, we'll have to resort to foreign slave rulers. And of course, the reason we don't have heirs is because decades of rampant alcoholism have meant that is not really an option anymore. So there we go. As for the reform itself, it's pretty evident that we get 100% national manpower modifier. I mean, that's just pretty normal. I mean, any Russian modifier, if I don't stick 100% national manpower modifier on it, then I'm just taking opportunity wasted. Now, as for the small historical accuracy debuffs, the absolutism and maximum absolutism come from one thing, and the monthly autonomy change in governing capacity as well. It's a very, very good quote by Alexander II, a Russian Tsar, that ruling Russia is easy, but pointless. It's easy to rule Russia, get loads of absolutism, but inherently it's pointless to rule Russia. No governing capacity. And the autonomy, I mean, you can try and get it down, but they're going to do whatever they want anyway. There's no point even trying to change that. And that kind of concludes our Russian look through. But, I mean, we all know what we're here for. We're here for the new rebalanced Russian ideas. Now, the thing with Russian ideas is that as you go down them, what actually happens is you get a constantly increasing level of alcoholism associated with it. So the first idea, as always, we get a nice normal 1000% national manpower modifier. This is mostly a balance thing to offset the fact that Russia really struggles with manpower in MP games because of how heavy these ones tend to be. But because we're at the first stage of alcoholism, we get our first loss of 10% goods produced. Now moving on, this is kind of like not too alcoholic yet, only minus 20% goods produced total. But we're starting to open up, we're starting to talk a little bit better. Sorry, improved relations are going up, you know. It's pretty good. We're getting some good conversations going on at the bottle. Now we're not too drunk yet. This is like what, a bottle of vodka before Monday morning work, so it's not too bad for your goods produced modifier, but you know, it's starting to be noticeable. After that, we of course have our Siberian frontiers. Now this is the thing, to actually go to Siberia, we need to be basically full of vodka at this point. This is actually quite achievable for the Russian people. This is not an issue at all. But to have the vodka in your alcohol to survive Siberia, this does decrease our goods produced. We're now at around the third bottle before the Monday morning work. Now the other thing as well, moving on there, is artillery cost from the Russian artillery yard. Now this used to historically and accurately give you artillery combat ability. But actually what the Russian artillery yard did was make your artillery a lot cheaper, because we had this ingenious idea of recycling vodka bottles as artillery barrels. And that really drastically decreased the cost of our artillery. Unfortunately, to consume enough vodka, to have enough bottles for our cannons, we had to drink a bit more. So we're now at around 4 bottles before the Monday morning work. Moving on, well, it's Russia, so this is more of a balanced thing. We had to put a lot more people in the army, hence land force limit is just cranked up a slight amount there to really balance it compared to other tags. But again, while we're doing that balancing, we had to take a break, a small vodka break. So we're now around 5 bottles in before the morning. Afterwards, of course, we realised the country's a bit corrupt, so we we tried to do some things against the corruption. It didn't really work, but if there's any consolation, we decided to make up for it by drinking more vodka. So now we're around 6 bottles in, and it's starting to hurt. Like it's not too bad. We can still function, but we're now losing around 60% of our goods produced. Output's down 60%. So we get a table going, and of course on that table we come with this genius idea. What's the point in paying for the army if we can just give them vodka? And that's why the army, regardless of any land maintenance modifier costs, even at 100% inflation, would always be free. Unfortunately, the men still require sustenance, hence, well, more vodka. And at this point, with all the vodka consumed, we're at what? 7, 8 bottles? We're at minus, let me count that, minus 7, 70% goods produced. We're 7 bottles of vodka in before the Monday morning. That's not a good state, but we're still functioning. But the thing is, once we hit the 8th bottle, we actually hit this beautiful part of our army where our troops, they just don't break. They have infinite morale. At this point, they don't even realize they're on a battlefield. And with some people would say that after 8 bottles of vodka, the human body will stop functioning as the blood alcohol level. Well, it'd be more of an alcohol blood level, as the alcohol for the first time exceeds the volume of blood in your circulatory system. But there we go. It does have the side effect of just making sure your troops never break. And as a finisher, of course, we just get slightly more manpower to really rub it in. But of course, just to make up for that, we're on the 9th bottle now, and even by Russian standards, it's starting to be an issue. And with that, if we finish our ideas, we'll be seeing a respectable minus 90% goods produced. So most of the productivity's gone, but there's still like 1 in 10 people sober. So, we still have something resilient economy at the end of it. But there we go. And that's that. But my main thing as well is I have noticed that Poland has been doing incredibly well for an AI. Like, this is an incredibly strong Poland. Look at how strong this Poland is. They've been really like just going at it. Incredibly good Poland. And the other thing as well I noticed with Drone Row, I guess, with that is they've even, not only were they Polish and Orthodox, they actually started culture converting. And I thought, wow, why would the AI prioritize culture converting in Rome? And then I realized, maybe they didn't culture convert. Maybe the game was rigged from the start. I can't believe it. Big Poland took over my game yet again.